Ryan Rich, co-founder of Accord here today, and I am taking from vendorship to partnership away from Ross, hosting our very first live edition in Toronto. We have a bunch of sales leaders, the best Toronto has to offer you some pro tips. Let's go. I have Florin here on my left. I'd love to hear a little bit about some of the trends that you think are appearing in business development these days.
I feel like email drip campaigns and just like mass emailing is so 2015. You kind of hear that all the time, but I feel like you just have to go above and beyond. It's like not even just videos, like pictures, memes, like looking at people's Twitters, calling different things out. I think you have to do everything you can to stand out, and unfortunately not a lot of people are doing that yet.
I have Rachel from Metadata on my right, and what is the number one thing people get wrong about startup sales?
I think it's this notion that there's just this one plug and play way of doing things. And at the startups that I've worked at, the people who've come from bigger companies, they always come in with this idea of like, okay, here's the playbook, here's the way we do things, here's the process. Whereas in startup sales, you just have to wear so many different hats, right? Like you're not only just sales, but maybe sometimes you're a product, you're customer success. You need to be really, really adaptable and just think on your feet.
Hi, I'm Waylon McGill, head of sales for Plato. So I think that like buyer expectations are changing in that they're doing the research. They're not starting their sales process typically with like an outbound contact from an SDR or BDR. They're already somewhere in the buying process when you connect with them typically. And so you need to meet the buyers where they are, and you need to provide them with the information that they're looking for to facilitate that buying journey. So it's really about like aligning yourself to the journey of the buyer rather than trying to fit them into your sales process.
Ross, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Excited to be coming in live, like you said, right before our first big happy hour in Toronto.
What is the number one thing that people get wrong about startup sales?
Startup sales. I think the biggest mistake that people make is they think about sales very differently than they think about product and engineering and design, and it is the same thing. It's a process. It takes iteration, and they think it just takes someone that can have good overall conversations that's going to crack sales for them, and it really comes down to really the founder or first sales leader testing things, experimenting, trying different positioning, marketing, etc. And it's not really just about being great conversationalists. It's really about what's your hypothesis, testing it out with a bunch of folks, and going from there. So I think that's what a lot of people get wrong, and probably the biggest misconception in startup sales.
All right, thank you for joining us today for our very first From Vendorship to Partnership live edition. Thank you, Ross, for your time, and look forward to seeing you around.
Of course, yeah, sounds good. We'll get to it.
And that's a wrap. I'll see you next time.